What's going on, y'all? So it is June 21st, 2026. It's approximately 5:29 a.m. on that eastern side. We flipped the poles. It might be Western, Gregorian calendar. Hear me out. I'm sitting over here scrolling on YouTube University, and I come across this video by @D3ATHS, and it's titled Tay Keith and Oliver Tree Reveal a Concerning Pattern. So we're going to go ahead and tap into this video and see what kind of patterns they have in common. Let's go.
Of the biggest creators in the world end up turning on their record labels. Just the other day, we looked at the friction between Oliver Tree and his label. Now, we are seeing that super producer Tay Keith was dealing with the same situation. Today, we are going to analyze this pattern to identify exactly what leads to so many artists speaking out against the music industry. By the end of this video, you will understand why, despite all the fame and money, these artists are always left with nothing. Back in March, super producer Tay Keith, known for working with Drake, Travis Scott, and many others, entered a massive contract dispute over his music with Sexy Red. He declared that he was having severe business friction with his record label due to royalties he never received. According to Tay Keith, millions of dollars were owed to him for the beats he produced for Sexy Red's biggest hit songs, the very songs that made her career and generated immense wealth. Essentially, Keith was alleging that despite the tracks being massive hits, he was purposely kept off the producer credits and denied his compensation. It is important to note that Tay Keith was not targeting Sexy Red directly. He had no personal issues with her. His disagreement was entirely with the powerful record company backing her. Sexy Red releases music under the imprints Rebel and Open Shift. However, the major entity actually distributing and backing these releases is a massive media company called Gamma. Gamma was founded by a former big music executive and was designed as an alternative to the traditional major label system. It was supposed to be a new way of doing business. But despite that promise, we are seeing them operate just like the rest of the music industry. The business friction that emerged behind the scenes centered strictly on unpaid royalties. The contract dispute covered a total of 13 different songs produced during her massive rise, including the breakout track Pound Town. Unfortunately, Tay Keith was not able to see a resolution to this issue. Just a few days ago on June 18th, the music world experienced his sudden and tragic passing in Nashville. What is interesting is that just a few days back, we covered Oliver Tree's situation. Oliver Tree also had severe business friction with his label. He was known for hit songs like Life Goes On and Miss You. You likely heard his music on TikTok because that's where it was the biggest. While Oliver Tree's career took off quickly, he eventually found himself in the same exact position as Tay Keith. He felt like his label was not following the rules and was starting to operate incorrectly. So Oliver Tree did the only thing he could do. He made a video telling his fans that his project was going to be delayed because of his ongoing problems with the label.
I just got word that my album is no longer coming out. Love You Madly, Hate You Badly is officially canceled, and I'm parting ways with Atlantic Records. Behind the scenes has been nothing short of a nightmare. I have no marketing budgets for music videos, no digital ad spend. Nobody really cares in the building, it seems like. I made a lot of money for Atlantic Records, and they don't seem to remember that. I have gotten no support. They forgot to ingest multiple songs into the system, which means the songs didn't come out. I had a Valentine's Day breakout song that didn't even get released because someone forgot to put it in. I don't really understand how that's possible. I've made them tens of millions of dollars, but they don't remember that. So, the music is owned by them. The remainder of the music will not be coming out. I will always continue to make music. Thank you for everyone who supported me. I can't wait to release more music at some point at a later time, but for now, there is nothing on the horizon. I'm so sorry, and I love you guys. Thank you.
Oliver.
Okay, so now that we see the patterns between the two, Tay Keith and Oliver Tree are both, having issues with being paid for the work, for the music, for what they have created within this world here. And it seems as though they are being combative, right? But they're not. Right? They're speaking up for themselves, right? They're speaking up for their work, their creations. And they're tired of that shit. They're tired of people taking their fucking shit and not paying them, right? So let's see what else is going on. But here's the question I have. Could that be a part of the contract that they signed? Could they have missed something within their contract that stated these exact things that they would not be getting paid. Oh man, let's get into it.
Made it clear that he was going independent and cutting ties. He eventually made a follow-up video declaring that he and the label had come to some sort of agreement and he was going to drop his album independently.
You guys have joined together in tens of thousands and sent messages to the label. We have officially reached a negotiation over the past course of a week. My team has got the label to agree to release Love You Madly, Hate You Badly on my personal imprint, Alien Boy Records. You guys, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This music is finally going to see daylight. So support your local indie artists and go pre-order my album. April 24th is the official date. I love you all.
Fast forward to just this month. Oliver Tree was in the middle of his global tour when the world received the news of his sudden and tragic passing. Just like we saw with Take Keith, Oliver Tree never really got to see his music issues fully resolved. These two examples instantly made me think of other massive artists who faced the same issues. Take Lil Wayne. He was arguably the biggest rapper in the industry.
Pause. Lil Wayne, what is going on with the locks? Like, for real, them joints look like the nowadays chicken tenders. Motherfucking catfish tenders. Come on, Wayne, ever since you changed, man, ever since. Tunchi, that's who you is. You Tunchi now, ain't you? I don't know, but let's get into it.
Literally sitting on top of the game in the late 2000s and early 2010s. But just like we saw with Oliver Tree and Take Keith.
Now, you see the difference. You see the difference in those two? This was Lil Wayne. That other motherfucker that was before this picture was Tunchi. Okay, it's different ones of them, okay? You gotta understand when they change it to these personalities, and I'm saying this at 4:44 on the timer here. When they change it to these personalities, goddammit, you gotta understand when they have been hijacked by these demons, if you wanna call them demons, whatever you wanna call them by, they have been hijacked, their bodies, right? They have sold themselves to whatever entity is attached to them outside of themselves. And this motherfucker right here, this motherfucker right here, all them niggas gay. All of them. Ain't nothing wrong with it, you understand? But it's when you hide in the closet, when you sit up there and you go in communities and you grate these young boys and you mold them into being young bitches. I'm just saying, man, this is weird. I knew it when they was kissing each other on the lips. But let's get back into this before we fucking, you know how my mind go.
Wayne also had a massive public dispute with his label. In 2014, he publicly announced his issues with Cash Money Records over unpaid royalties, telling the world that the man he once viewed as a father figure had been doing him dirty for years. Lil Wayne alleged he was owed over $51 million and was willing to take the dispute as far as necessary.
Right now, they got me in bars right now. They don't want to see me make good music. I don't know what's going on. And I just want you to know, if anything, if you thought that it's the Birdman, Cash Money.
Fortunately for Wayne, even though it took years, the label eventually made it right. But he was also incredibly fortunate to walk away from that infamous tour bus situation. Because if he had not made it through that incident, this story would have ended just like Take Keith and Oliver Tree. Two massive figures in the industry who never got the chance to fully resolve their business friction. But honestly, Lil Wayne is one of the lucky few. If we look at other historical cases of industry disputes, we notice that many artists never get to resolve their issues while they're still here. Michael Jackson is a perfect example of this. He had a highly public dispute with his label, making it clear that he felt they were operating maliciously.
Record companies really, really do conspire against their artists. They steal, they cheat, they do whatever they can, especially the black artist. Tony told the president of the record division, he is a mean, he's very, very, very devilish. I really believe it's a conspiracy because the story always ends the same. At the end of the story, it's not an accident.
Watch this. How do you say I can in Spanish?
It's happened on purpose.
While Michael never resolved his issues during his lifetime, his estate eventually agreed to sell the ATV catalog and parts of his own music rights after. This was something Michael had adamantly refused to do. We can trace this pattern to this very day. Look at Drake. He has made it clear he feels his label turned on him too. On his recent project Iceman, he directed several bars at the executives and dedicated entire music videos to the fallout. As of right now, no one knows exactly how this massive contract dispute will end. But if history has taught us anything about the music business, it could only go one or two ways. Now we have to actually ask ourselves why so many artists find themselves in this exact same position. As I mentioned before, TLC faced the exact same issues with their label. Lisa Left Eye Lopez was the biggest critic of how the group was being handled, but unfortunately, she was never able to see those issues fully resolved. We saw a similar situation with soul legend Angie Stone. She publicly called out her label over unpaid royalties, but she never...
Alright, so the pattern that I'm getting is a lot of these folks done tapped into that witchcraft. They done tapped into the witchcraft. Not all of them, don't get me wrong, but they done signed these contracts here. You understand what I'm saying? They done had to sacrifice a lot within their lives, and they had to sacrifice a lot of people, okay? And in specific, this woman right here, this Stone Angie woman, she was a Delta, one of them sorors, she was one of them motherfuckers that have already sold their soul to deities and shit. So it's like, and then she sounded, and you got Kelly Price, who sounded just like Angie Stone now. So the truth is, might be making another video about Kelly Price in a second, because she sounded like old girl Angie Stone here. But let's get into this. It's a lot of witchcraft that's inside of these contracts, and they have to actually fulfill the contracts here. You understand what I'm saying? So regardless of if they made the money that they supposed to have made or not, they signed these contracts. They completed those rituals, and they did a lot of sacrificing. So now a lot of folk want to cry wolf. Not saying all of them within these situations, but folk want to cry wolf when they are allegedly unalive, right? Because some of them might still be alive on secret islands. Might still be alive, locked up under the penitentiaries that got the penitentiaries under it. Them underground tunnels and shit like that. You know how they go to them bunkers and shit like that. Okay, so now we're finna see how this is great play out. Let's let the truth is finish getting into it.
Got to see that business friction resolved either. If this were just one or two artists having these experiences in the industry, then maybe it could be brushed off as an isolated situation. But so many artists having these exact same issues points to a massive problem at the structural level. It seems like the business model is designed to prioritize corporate profits over anything else, even if that means locking artists into one-sided deals that lean the majority of the benefit towards the label. Really think about it. If the biggest artists in the world are saying this is how they are being treated, think about how they're treating the upcoming talent with absolutely no leverage. If the corporate side can enforce these restrictive deals on massive figures like Drake and Michael Jackson, the absolute biggest in the game, imagine what those contracts look like for smaller artists. It is clear that something is fundamentally broken with this business model. We need to pay attention to what these artists are telling us and bring awareness to these corporate tactics. It is the only way we can prevent future artists from walking down the exact same path. While the industry claims to have come a long way in how it treats its artists, it appears that is not necessarily true. While artists today look richer than ever, the reality is many of them are severely in debt to their labels. It is a system designed to guarantee the label always holds the leverage. If an artist actually gets rich and no longer needs the label's money to fund their career, the label loses its control. That is why it is important for these contracts to be designed to almost guarantee these artists will forever owe their label. Which means if their songs do make millions of dollars, they never get to see any of that money. The reality of the music business is incredibly complicated, and most would never see that. It is in the industry's best interest if you just keep listening to the music and do not ask any questions. That is why when people like Oliver Tree speak out, it's important to listen to him. And when producers like Tay Keith discuss their business friction, we need to ask questions. We have to show the industry we are paying attention so they finally feel the pressure to change these tactics. But Oliver Tree was not only using his platform to talk about his label issues. I recently covered some strange skits he posted on his Instagram, and it seems he was trying to tell people something much deeper with those videos. If you want to know exactly what Oliver Tree was revealing in those skits, watch this video right now. If you want to further support the channel, join me on Patreon. It's only $3 a month and you get access to over 60 exclusive videos. Another way to support the channel is simply by liking and hyping this video. When you hit the hype button, you tell the algorithm this video needs to be seen by everyone. Also, make sure to subscribe so there's no way my posts get lost in the algorithm. Well, that's it for this one. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Alright, so that's at The Truth Is, and make sure y'all see it up there, left hand side, at The Truth Is. It is titled Tay Keith and Oliver Tree Reveal a Concerning Pattern. And of course, I'm going to put the link in the description box so that you guys can go ahead and look at the video and go support at The Truth Is. Make sure you like, comment, and share his videos. And if you want to, hype him up, hype him up, hype him up. And as always, it's my pleasure, like Chick-fil-A, and I love y'all. Much peace, light, love, but especially that darkness, because the dark matter, we rise.